Hey, welcome to the show. Blow that whistle. Thanks. We got Brian Anderson coming up later. Brian called 6 games over the weekend. He called 4 day 1, 2 day 2. Oof. Can you imagine calling 4 basketball games
in one
day?
game?
Like,
I bet you're like dreaming squeaks and ball dribbles. And
imagine all the
PTSD.
research to do before on each team.
Oh yeah, that too.
But
I'd get the teams mixed up. Like, you're doing one game and you just did another one, that'd be kind of hard.
Yeah, you probably would though, because you're
That's true.
you're kind of lowercase to our capital.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You probably would.
You weren't meant to do that.
That's true.
That's too big time for you. But anyway, he's gonna be on a little bit. The interview went so well. I was like, hey, dude, you're cool. So I sent out my number and he texted me back.
Really?
Yeah.
That easy, huh?
I guess. I don't know.
That's cool.
I love that dude. He was awesome,
He was
right?
really cool.
So that's coming up. Easy, quick question. How many brackets are you in? Don't lie, Kevin.
2.
And
Okay.
it mostly is, are your final 4 teams still in? Like, you could be losing now, but if you've lost one of your final 4 or final 2, you're done.
Actually, one, yes. The other one, no, because I had St. John's in there.
Good for you.
So when you ask the
Bring this up
question,
already.
though, when you ask the question, how many brackets do you have? It's like how many.
Did you fill out?
Yeah,
Viable
but is it like
brackets?
one bracket? Like, did you pick the same teams for the?
No, it's how many are you in
Oh,
overall?
because
Yeah.
like some people like they have one bracket, but they enter
No,
like
I understand.
3, 4 different.
I'm familiar with the game. Yeah, I'm asking how many are you in?
Okay.
But you have one as your main bracket. You have to, right?
I'm asking how many are you in?
2.
Thank you, Eddie.
3.
That's not bad, guys. Nobody's judging you.
I have 3.
Why
but
are you
they're-
guys being
he's
weird?
ashamed.
Because people judge me, and I have 3 different brackets. I'm in 3 different brackets, and I have 3 different picks. So I have 3 different variations of
And that's
possibilities.
fine. I mean, I wouldn't do that. That's a loser thing to do. But that's
See, that's exactly
No,
what
no.
I'm talking about.
But I'm just, oh my God. I think there's one that you do immediately when they're announced, one that you do with your head, one that you can do with your heart.
Interesting.
I think if you do those 3, that's okay.
Okay.
But still, it's kind of like loser because it's like you got 3 chances. Ugh.
Yeah. It's like insurance.
But honestly, I don't care enough to have a real emotion about it. I was just wondering how many you were in.
So I do one that I really believe in. Like, this is what I watch basketball all season long.
Okay, let me guess. It's the one he's doing the best in.
Yeah.
No, it's the one I'm doing the worst at.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for being honest.
And then I try to do a cute one where I'm like, ooh, give me Clemson to go all the way. And then you lose it first round. You're like, nice.
That's rough.
yeah,
And that's what I
Casey?
get for being cute.
I only did one. I just went with my gut, but it's completely dismantled. So
I did one.
Mm.
And I wasn't going to do any, but I have a friend who's the assistant athletic director at Oral Roberts, and he was like, hey, would you mind getting in? Because if you do, then I'll be like, Bobby Bones is in it, so other people will get in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm in that one.
Mm.
And I think there's like 100 people. I'm 4th right now. It doesn't matter right now.
100? It's good.
Yes, but it doesn't matter because you get the most points whenever your teams are advancing to 8, 4, and 2.
Yeah.
So I am 4th right now. I will say this, though, that my winner is still in it, baby, because I'm a bracket. I forgot what I said the day of the show, but I'm in the top 98% overall, all ESPN.
okay.
Wow.
I don't know if that's good or not.
Sounds good.
So, yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Whatever it means, it sounds awesome.
Yeah, it sounds good. But I have Auburn to win. So if they win the whole thing, I think I'll end up winning this bracket.
Do you like that pick, though? Like, after watching kind of how everyone's performing so far?
Sure. I mean, Duke looks awesome, but Duke looked awesome. And I'm just not gonna pick Duke, but Duke looks awesome.
Duke just is destroying everyone that comes
They
their
looked
way.
so good yesterday.
Mhm.
I lost a lot of money on Kentucky yesterday, not because I did not. Illinois was a 2.5 point favorite, I think, before the game, so I didn't touch it because I thought Kentucky would win the game anyway.
Yeah.
But I had like $900 in my DraftKings account, and because I did put 1,000 on Auburn to win the whole thing.
That's cool. And they were what were their odds at the beginning?
I think they were plus 400.
That's very good.
So whatever money I had in, I bet Illinois plus 8.5, and I think they lose by 9 or something
So
like that at the
stupid,
end, or something like that. Or if they made the final shot, so I lost a lot of money on that one.
Yeah.
But
If you're betting a lot of upsets, you had a bad weekend.
Yeah, I didn't bet it.
Especially the first 2 days.
Not much madness. Not much madness.
I was
going
out
on.
of the country, so I couldn't
Right.
really bet anything.
You lucked out. I'm telling you lucked out.
Like as you can see here, I'm 4th overall in this group at Oral Roberts University Golden Eagles, and I have Auburn because they have Duke. Number 1 player has Duke, but he's only up by 20 points.
yeah.
So everybody's pretty close.
You got everyone different too above you. You
Duke,
got Florida.
Houston, Michigan State, and I have Auburn.
Wow.
Nice.
So somebody at St. John's at 8, loser.
Yeesh.
Hey, the Arkansas-Kansas game, I watched that.
Kudos to your team,
Thank
dude.
you. God
Kudos
dang,
to your
dude.
team.
I watched that thing at 2 o'clock in the morning at a hotel in Vienna, Austria, on a phone. I wasn't even getting like a legitimate feed because nothing. You can't. YouTube TV. Who else? What else? ESPN. They will. First of all, you can't watch them outside of America.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, you can't even get a VPN. They're smart enough to know they're being VPN'd. So there's nothing I could do. So I had to like find it. But I stayed up, watched the whole thing. We won. It was awesome. And then I did something that I claim I never do.
Uh-oh.
I did something that I'm not proud of. I did something that I hope I never have to do again.
Oh my goodness. What are we talking about here?
I know. And it happened Saturday afternoon. So Saturday afternoon, we were getting on a flight flying back from Austria. No, we flew to London. Austria, London, back to Nashville because it's a direct flight from Nashville to London. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I've done it. It's sweet.
It is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so I'm like, I'll just the game was at like 2, just watch it, get on the flight. Can't wait. It's a 9-hour flight, but I'll watch a game on the flight, cut the thing in half. Sorry to let you guys know we don't have internet.
No.
Oh,
No. It's the worst thing you can hear.
9 hours. First of all, just straight up, 9 hours, no internet. That sucks.
Oh, yeah.
2, the game was on while I was on the flight. That was the whole purpose of the whole thing.
Dang.
And I'm like, no, you got to be kidding me.
Oh, my God.
I'm like trying to troubleshoot the whole plane.
Yeah, good.
Like I'm now the guy that's trying to fix the internet for the whole plane just so I can. And they're like, sir, we're not gonna have. There's no Wi-Fi.
They
So,
shouldn't let the plane leave the ground. If that's
Yeah,
it's like, you know how they do checks
I would have
on
stayed.
everything?
I would have stayed back for a 4-hour delay to watch the game.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I literally would have.
Yeah.
So I'm pissed, but there's nobody to be pissed at. So it's a weird. It's like just I'm
Yeah.
pissed, but I'm confused.
You can't do anything about
Where
it.
to send this emotion? And my wife knows I'm upset. She's like, "There's nothing you can do." So this is what I do. So I get on the plane. You can't text me because there's no Wi-Fi.
That's
And
good.
obviously, there's no cell. About 30 minutes before we land, I shut my phone off.
Smart.
I do not have my phone on for 6 hours. I know because I have YouTube TV every game. They have every game recorded. I go and I do my fingers over my eyes. You know how little kids will do peekaboo with little eyes?
Oh my
Yeah,
I
God.
turn my YouTube TV on. I do peekaboo only to see the one little part of it where I can catch the game. And I hit play. I pull back. My phone stayed off the entire game. I watched the entire game.
Good for you.
Wow. And how delayed?
4.5, 5 hours. I am not Mr. Watch Live Sports Recorded. I hate it because I hate having to avoid everything.
Yeah.
But I waited the whole year for this. Every game is for this. And to watch us play St. John's and we won.
It got tight for a little bit,
It
but
did.
you guys pulled away.
It
Yeah,
did.
Yeah.
But I did peekaboo with my finger so I wouldn't see. People were texting me. Luckily, my phone wasn't on at all because people were texting me as soon as the game was over, like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
So I turned
Yeah.
my phone back on though. It was once the game was over because I wouldn't turn it on during the game.
Right. Yeah.
So left it off and watched it. Awesome. We're going Sweet 16. Texas Tech next. I hope we kicked the crap out of them. I like Texas Tech though. We had the coach on. He was awesome. So yeah, that was it. That's it.
The one bright spot, though, you got to fast forward through commercials, right?
No, I suffered through them like I should.
Oh, really?
no.
They want to do it real.
Hey, they paid a
All the
price.
Capital One ones? Oh, dang.
Heck yes.
Oh my God.
I skipped commercials and halftime.
Even halftime.
Yeah, no.
You're listening to the
They
report.
deserve to make me watch this. So, but yeah.
the rule there though is you got to text like first off, I didn't even think about texting you both games because like I don't know where you are. I don't know if
Yeah.
you're watching. I just didn't want to risk that. But the rule like is like you start with you watching, and if you get no
Right,
response, you
right.
don't talk about the game.
It's like a you up.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I just think I like that rule.
You watching? And then if it's silence, you'd be like, okay, they might not be watching, so I'm not going to ruin this for them.
I've never heard that either.
Yeah, I've not heard that.
Mm-mm.
I don't mind it though, but I just had turned everything off. There was no getting a hold of me, and it worked. It rarely does with sports that are recorded.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost impossible, especially if it's a game that's a top 25 game or a tournament game or a playoff game, football. It's impossible to avoid it. So I was off the grid. as they would
Like,
say.
really? You were? Did you have a feeling, though? Like, what was your internal feeling while the game was live?
I'm going to tell you this, and I don't like it. And I've not told her this. But my wife comes in because she looks up the game.
Mm.
And as soon as we land, she looks it up. And she doesn't say anything to me. But she walks in and as the game is like midway through the first half, and she goes, I know what your mood's going to be like when this game is over. And she walked out.
That's brutal.
But I like it because it can go either way.
Yeah.
But
Very neutral.
But you know the way that I took it was we won.
Mm,
Mm.
okay.
And I never take it that we win.
Interesting.
I didn't like that. I wish you wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
So you did have the gut instinct that you had won.
It was only instinct because there was real no data.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just how she said it. And then I started evaluating why she would have said it. Would she have come and said that had she known I was going to be? So then I'm doing mental gymnastics.
Right. Yeah.
And I never feel like we're going to win, but I felt like we were going to pull through it because she did that.
Hmm.
So we won. We're going to Sweet
awesome.
16. It's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else's team still in? Anybody else have a team? I have a team.
No, man.
Vols? Dude.
No, they're still
That's not
alive.
really your
Yeah.
team.
No, I don't know.
Hey.
I don't know. No.
I was rooting for Lipscomb, but no, they didn't do anything.
And they kind of jumped out
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the boat like went off the shore and they jumped out immediately.
Quickly.
Tennessee's awesome though,
Yeah, they look great.
and they're playing Kentucky. And Kentucky's beat them twice already, but I got a feeling that ain't gonna happen this time.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing that sucks about the Arkansas game is it's in San Francisco next round.
Ooh.
That's a long travel.
It's the farthest place I could possibly go.
But they're
Yeah.
playing Tech, so they need to travel that far too.
But I'm talking about for me. I don't give a crap about them.
I thought you meant
No.
I thought you meant what it does to the team.
I don't care if the team's playing in Seoul, Korea. I'm talking about me getting there.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it's a long
And it's a Thursday
way.
night, so I can't
Yeah.
go.
Korea.
Because of this show.
I was wondering. I was like,
Can't
I
go.
don't-
If it were a Friday, could possibly make that because I'm gonna go fill in for Rich Eisen for a couple days in LA next week.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
And so, but I can't do a Thursday.
Well, if they win, I know you probably don't want to talk about that.
Where do they go
I-
then?
Saturday they play again in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh,
I don't talk
stay.
about. I don't talk.
Okay,
About
okay.
We don't talk about that.
Okay.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. We don't talk about.
Okay,
it.
okay.
But it was cool. It was cool to win. I mean, we've gone to the Sweet 16 like 3 of the last 4 years, I think.
Yeah.
But still, it's crazy because for so long we didn't. But Muss was great, and we sucked this year for a lot of the year. We got. It didn't matter. This is not an Arkansas show, but anyway, it was good. It was fun.
Was it cool for you to go against Patino too, with like the whole Calipari Patino thing? Because for me as a fan with like no real dog in the fight, I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
No.
They made that on TV. Like they kind of made that little
Bit of
thing.
a spectacle.
Two Hall of Fame
It-
coaches.
It wasn't cool for me personally because I'm not a Kentucky guy.
It's true.
Like history wise, that's kind of cool. But they've already played each other before. If it was the first time, it'd have
Yeah,
been different, I
right,
think.
right.
And also, I'm not a Kentucky guy, so I didn't give a crap. All Kentucky was rooting for St. John's because they want Cal to lose. But BYU, Sweet 16. Pope
Yeah.
left BYU to go to Kentucky since they thought BYU would fall off. They didn't.
And they look great.
BYU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cal left Arkansas to left Kentucky to go to Arkansas, so they thought Kentucky would fall off. They didn't because Pope's there. Arkansas didn't because they didn't because so all three of the teams that are in that little love triangle are still Sweet 16 in.
And does Patino have a son that coaches too?
He went and watched his son.
He's a coach.
Play or coach?
No, he's a coach too.
Yeah.
I did see him
yesterday.
in
I
the
was in the
stands.
stands too. I'm like,
Yesterday.
that's weird that he's in the stands. But then I
Was it NIT or was
I think
it
he's on New
NCAA?
Mexico. I
No,
think.
Yeah,
New
that's
Mexico.
exactly what
New
it
Mexico
is.
State.
Oh, is he an assistant coach?
No, he's the main guy.
He is.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
They
Richard,
lost.
I did not
Patino.
know that
was he
until I
wearing a
saw him.
scarf or something?
I didn't see him. I heard him talking about it.
I've been so tired for like last.
I think
few
that was
days.
just you with the scarf, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was you, man.
I had no idea how to wear one. I'll be honest with you. It was cold. We were in Paris. It was freaking cold, and so I had the coat. And I told my wife first. I went, my face hurts and my neck hurts. She goes, well, I have 2 scarves. I was like, okay, and I put it on, and all I did was wrap it like toilet paper
Perfect.
around my neck. And she was like, it looks like you're wearing a neck brace. And I was like, well, I don't know how to wear a scarf. So then I put it on, and I took it and I did a thing, and she goes, well, now you look like Edgar Allan Poe, but we'll just go with that. And so I wore that, and then we went inside of a store, and they were selling scarves, and I saw how they were
The
hung on-
mannequin.
The mannequin.
they were hung on like poles, but like a tie kind of thing. So I
Okay.
started wearing that. I felt much cooler.
There you go. There you go.
But
They do help though, don't they?
dude.
Yes.
Game changer.
I never wore one in California, obviously, and then here with the blizzards, I'm like, oh my gosh, these are amazing.
yeah.
Yep.
You guys wear vests?
No. Never wore vests. Never had a reason. I would wear them fishing. We had different
No,
lures.
I mean for warmth.
No, never.
I never understood.
Because I was like,
the
why would
idea.
I not want my arms to be warm too?
Right.
Correct.
I wear a vest, guys.
Yeah, I don't
I
get
knew
it. Like, do only your nipples get cold? Like, are your arms different?
Well, you wear a long sleeve underneath. That's kind of like a style thing too, you know?
Okay, quickly around the room. What's your headline for March Madness so far? If you had to give me a one single headline, I'll go to you first, Eddie.
I'm gonna go with McNeese trainer or manager, team manager, who like was famous for 2 days. That's pretty awesome. Too bad your team's out, and you're no longer there. But the cheerleaders had socks with his face on it. Players had socks with his face on it. He got an NIL deal out of it. I think now
Is he going
he's going
Yeah.
with coach
with
too.
Will Wade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To North Carolina
This
State?
is crazy. So good for that kid, man.
That's fun. I like Will Wade. I don't care. I was on some calls. When Arkansas hired Calipari, I still
Who
get
knows?
confused on which one.
Cal. That's why Cal's cool to say.
Yeah. I had no idea. Like there are certain boosters that know stuff. There's the next level that knows after the certain, and I'm usually either in the toppish tier or the secondary of the toppish tier. Like I usually find out pretty quick. I had no idea they were hiring Coach Cal, right? And I was on a call about hiring Will Wade, and what I thought about it. How could we get money for it? It was very unofficial. I'll just say this: there was nobody from the university on the call. But Will Wade got in trouble at LSU for being recorded, paying the player, that kind of all this stuff is basically
Stuff that they
legal
do now.
Now.
Yeah.
So dumb.
It's like Reggie Bush, you were bad.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, it's all legal getting out.
Yeah.
Gets the Heisman back. I love Will Wade because I hated Will Wade because Will Wade was out of control and mouthy, but he won.
Yeah.
Same reason people don't like Coach Cal. More Muss. I'd say Muss. Big energy guys. I really like Will Wade. I wanted him to be the coach at Arkansas. That was my pick to be the coach at Arkansas until Coach Cal came out of nowhere and John Tyson paid $6 million.
And you're like, no, that's a pretty good pick.
I was like, you know what? Hey, what do I know?
We'll roll with that.
But yeah, Will Wade's going to North Carolina State, but he didn't sign his contract. And for a while, they were acting like, hey, he still hasn't signed, even after they won their first round game.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, in Texas, that job still hasn't been filled. Now the Texas job has been filled because the Xavier coach is going over, which he's been a Xavier for a while, right?
I think,
Sean, body wants to be the world. But yeah, Xavier coach is Sean.
Oh, Sean Miller.
Thank you.
Right,
Arizona.
Right, the Arizona guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Before.
How long was he at Arizona?
A little while.
He was there for a bit.
And
He was
then
there with
he got-
Aaron Gordon and
How
stuff
long
like
is
that.
he? But how long has he been at Xavier? Feels like he's been at Xavier 10 years. Has he not?
Honestly, at this point, he probably has been.
Xavier, 3 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sean has not been at Xavier. Well,
Arizona for 12.
There you go.
yeah, congrats to him. He's going to that Texas job that just, for some reason, can't win. I mean, even with Shaka Smart, who then now goes to he went.
Marquette.
He goes to Marquette, lives in freaking Milwaukee and wins now.
Yeah.
And headline, good one, Kevin.
Yeah, mine is, and I'm not just saying this because we had Brian Anderson on today, but the announcers, I realize, are the best during March Madness. And like from top to bottom, every single team and every broadcast, which is very rare to find, especially when there's so many games going on, I feel like are just top notch. Every single one.
And I'm going to agree with you in that you never really pay attention to good announcing until you hear a lot of bad.
Yeah.
And because, and this is a testament to how good it is, but I like ESPN, what's it called? They've all, I have
The
it.
Ocho?
No.
ESPN Plus.
That's fine.
Yes,
Yeah.
where they have everything,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So then anybody gets to announce a game. It's like they draw from a hat.
Yeah.
And if you
You can
win,
host.
yes, you get to call a game. It's so bad sometimes.
They have like college kids calling the game.
Or
I've never
like
seen that,
Oh, yeah.
really?
Yeah.
for small schools,
Yeah,
probably.
for the real small schools.
But even for like Arkansas SEC games, they have bad announcers,
Yeah.
and you're like, God, this is terrible.
Yeah.
So then whenever the real reels go, you're like, man, it does make a lot of difference.
Yeah.
I did see, maybe it was, he's one of the Fab Five.
Jalen Rose.
It was Jalen Rose
Yeah.
talking about. Now I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it how he said it. So I'm not saying it wrong, but I'm gonna say how he said it. They had him on. I'm 99% sure it was Jalen Rose as a college basketball expert, and he kept talking about Johnny Broom.
Oh no, not Janai.
You're like, okay, how much basketball have you really watched?
You should know Janai Broom by now.
Yeah,
That's not good.
that's not good.
No.
And trust me, I've messed up every name in the world and tried to do, but it's somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody should have been there for him and been like, hey, you're gonna talk about this guy. You know how to say it, right?
Mhm.
We did a whole thing today where I couldn't say Bimini or some island, and Kevin's right beside me going, "Nope, you're not saying it right. You're not saying it right. You got to have that, or you're just
Yeah.
gonna look like a fool." All right, good. Casey,
Yeah, I mean, I just wish there was a little bit more madness. I just feel like a lot of these lower seeds were like right there to beat a lot of these favorites, and they would always blow it. So I felt like that that buzzer beater that Maryland hit against Colorado State, that was like the first like actual madness moment. So
And that was late on.
that was like
round-
late. Yes.
Sunday, yeah.
So
lack
I
of
just
madness.
wish
Would
a
that be your
lack of
headline?
Lack of
madness.
madness.
Every once in a while, we get a lack of madness. Sometimes we get a lot of madness,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
Just
yeah,
wish a little bit more madness.
that I watched the Colorado State Maryland game. Yeah, how about that?
That was awesome. Like that's
Yeah, I wish it would have been a little deeper. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, even that madness was kind of like right outside the lane. It's a little bit.
pseudo madness.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
three was awesome.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, is this something we're going to be having to get used to, though? Like with the first round, just kind of being like, all right, there may not be a lot of upsets because
No.
these teams are so stacked now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this is why I'm gonna say no. The same reason college football is starting to have more parity as well, because these players, you only have so much money to go around for so many players. You're not gonna be able to pay 8 players big money. You can pay 3, 4, maybe 5, and then you got some bench 6, 7, 8 guys that aren't as good. So those other players are gonna go to the mid schools. So I think you're gonna see that happen where there's going to be an extreme amount of parity in college basketball as well. The difference is, though, some schools will go way more in on college basketball. Like if they know they can't win in football,
Sure.
they'll not put any money in football and put it in basketball. But I'm going to say no. I would think if anything, it would slightly tilt the other way. And then when somebody has a good run, then this is like a show off. It's like an audition for other teams. If you're like a mid-major that makes the tournament and you play well, that's your audition to go play for one of the big boys next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was watching UNC Wilmington, and there was some kid on there. I was like, oh, he's going somewhere big next.
Even
lost.
if they hadn't like playing, because the portal just opened like yesterday, today, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my headline is going to be "Woo freaking pig."
Yeah.
Like to draw Kansas first, that kind of sucked because I'm like, oh, I got to play a blue blood.
That was a great game too.
Yeah, they're going to get the calls. And good game. We got them.
Played hard.
I thought so.
Yeah. And then against St. John, I thought, okay, they're going to get their TV matchup, Calipari and Patino. And what's going to happen is, because St. John's been a media darling, it's New York City. Nope, they couldn't.
Mm-mm.
They couldn't. Our best player is still out. He hasn't played in a month and a half. Our guard, not Arkansas podcast, but they're Sweet 16, so it's a
You
national
gotta
thing.
talk about
we're
him a
just
little
talking
bit.
about
He was
basketball.
only going to play like 12 minutes. He ended up playing like 22. Played Boogie Flam. Played a bunch of
Boogie?
seconds. Yeah. So it's good. I'm
Hitting
excited.
some threes too.
There's some crazy names out there, by the way.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Yep.
There's some, like watching the games and
lot
they're
of
just calling them, and you're like,
international games, too.
whoa.
At Colorado State, and he shot, I think, 3 threes in a row. Penis scrotum. When I think it's Panay scrotum.
Yeah,
But yeah, he's foreign.
Panay.
Those shots were going straight in,
But
man.
straight in.
Stupid.
Thank you. All right. Mike, you want to take a quick break?
Yep.
All right, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll go with talk to Brian Anderson. Let's talk about Pick 6 for a second. Hey, I'm going to say this too. Let's say you're somewhere and you haven't been able to use DraftKings Sportsbook because, I don't know, maybe your state's like, That's all I can do is go, let me recommend Pick 6. Because, you can. Pick 6 is awesome. Download the Pick 6 app from DraftKings. It's called DraftKings Pick 6. You select 2 or more players, and you choose stats. You don't have to choose teams. Choose if you'll have more or less of a stat. Pick 6 is available in states like California, like Texas, like Missouri, and more. There are certain things we can and can't say, but I'm just saying you can do this in a lot of places. Some stats to pick. So coming up on Thursday, Cooper Flagg for Duke, more or less than 19 points. The thing about Cooper Flagg, I've watched him probably 5 games, and not 5 full games, but 5 games. He reminds me a bit. Which player do you think he reminds me of if I say this? If he wants to score 23 points, he will. But if he wants to have 11 assists and 4 points, he also will.
College or NBA?
NBA. And it doesn't matter. Like, he just wants to win.
LeBron.
Mm-mm.
Steph?
That's not mm-mm.
Luca?
Mm-mm. If this NBA player I'm thinking of, if he doesn't score 20 points, he doesn't care. Give him 11 assists and 10 rebounds and 2.
Russell Westbrook?
Mm-mm.
You just keep naming.
Jokic.
Jason Tatum?
Thank
Jokic.
you.
Nice,
Oh.
Casey.
Thank you. Because Jokic don't care.
Yeah, that's true.
Jokic just
He
wants to
doesn't.
win, and if he's just going to play YMCA ball and throw 32 assists and score none, he's going to. I kind of get that feeling a little bit with Cooper Flagg. He just wants to win. He just wants to win. But so the more or less of 19 points, it feels easy to go more just because the number's only 19.
Yeah.
But if they don't need him to score 19, and they're
Mhm.
I'm going to stay away from that one.
But what's so cool about this pick six, though, is you never really get to play college players ever in any of these kinds of games.
Good point.
So this is fun.
Janelle Davis, also known as Nellie Davis for Arkansas, more or less than 12 points. I'm going more on that one
There you go.
against Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Tyrese Proctor for Duke, I'm going to go more than 14. Like, I feel like he needs his points. JT Toppin for Texas Tech, I'm going to go less than 19 just because I don't want him to score.
You're just putting that out there.
I just would rather him not do that. So download the new DraftKings Pick 6 app. Use the code Bobby Sports, one word. Would love for you to do that. Just saying, that's all we can say there. All right. Hey, Brian, thanks for the time. I
Of course.
have a weird performer question for you. So,
All right.
watched a lot of your games over the weekend. Both. I think I watched more round 1 than round 2, but that makes sense because there are less games, right? You did more round 1 games, right?
Yeah, 4 in round 1, 2 in round 2.
Okay. So are you a
So
little?
the math's in your favor.
Thank you. Are you a little hoarse from the 6 games?
Yeah, a little bit. It's more just the travel and you do all those games, especially the 4 games in one day. So you're on the air 12 hours basically. The air's in the balloon. But then you're traveling and you're waking up early and, there's no sleep and you're bouncing back and forth. So it's more from just not really using the instrument in the last 2 days. So I finished Saturday. So Sunday, Monday, Sunday, I didn't really talk much. Then you just got to warm it back up again. So I'm probably not in my best voice today for you, unfortunately, but
No.
we'll breathe it out. We got some hot tea. We'll get it going.
You are. And so here's the question that I have. If I'm going to make this about me, but it's really about you. If I have like a TV show coming up where I have to shoot for 2 or 3 days, or I have to do, like I did a comedy special, and the day or two leading up to it, I'm always battling myself with, oh my God, am I getting sick? Even though I'm not getting sick, I'm always like, I start to have these minor mental breakdowns. And I wonder because, again, when it comes to, if I'm like hearing people, guys and women that do what you do, like to me, you're the best. Do you start to do that mentally, or am I the only extremely neurotic person before a performance that thinks I'm getting sick every single time?
No, we all go through that, and I don't think about it too much until, somebody. It happens every year, everywhere we go. Whether I'm going into, say, the baseball playoffs, which is a long stretch, and you're doing games every day, or the NBA playoffs when you're going to be traveling and for 6 weeks. Somebody always says, like, "What happens if you get sick?" And see, that's really not an option.
Right.
So it's not like you could just call in sick, I mean, it's happened occasionally in our industry. Fortunately, I've only lost my voice once, and it was I had bad allergies, and it was at a golf tournament. So it kind of worked out in my favor because I was able to get really quiet like this. But no, I think, that paranoia exists with all of us, but adrenaline's an amazing thing. And I was just talking to a young announcer who I've mentored. He's the voice of the Spurs, and this is his first year in the NBA. His name's Jacob Toby, and he texted me. He goes, "Man, I'm getting sick. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm on the road. I've got games." I said, "Hey, trust the adrenaline will be there when that tally light goes on, when that countdown comes in your ear and you're live." It is an amazing thing. And then, like, getting back to more mechanical stuff, just I read a book 30 years ago. It's $12 on Amazon. It's that thick. It's the best thing I ever read. It's called Change Your Voice, Change Your Life. Written by a guy by the name of Morty Cooper, Dr. Morton Cooper. And that book, I use those principles to this day. A lot of breathing, sitting up straight, making sure you're in the mask. So, though I tune that all the time, even when I hit the cough button in the middle of games, or I was getting a little ragged in like the fourth game of the day on Thursday. So you just breathe and tune up that voice, get it in the mask, and then usually you can get it back. So it's been one of the most helpful tools I've had in my career. And it literally did exactly what the title said. It changed my life because I did not have a strong voice when I started in this business.
I think you give better advice than I do, because anybody that I'm doing that with, I'll go, go to a Minute Clinic, get a steroid shot. So that's probably better.
Never do that. That's the worst thing to do.
I know, but it makes you. But for like a night, because I feel like I have bad allergies too, and I'll lose my voice, and I'll go, Minute Clinic it is. And I'm like, nope, I'm feeling great at night. But the next day I'm terrible.
Don't do it. You're going to lose it, man. You're going to lose it. You can't. It's just like steroids. You're going to be like Lyle Alzado with your voice. You can't do that.
But he was great for a while, Brian, wasn't he? He was great for a while.
He was on top of his game.
He was.
These are your earning years. You got to go take the needle.
I do want to, and I don't want to go through every game that you called, but I do just generally want to talk about some of the games, but then some of what you do while you do these games. But the Creighton-Louisville game, and Creighton now, rest in peace. But that was a heck of a game, and I don't really think a game that a lot of people saw falling that way. How did you feel going into that game?
Did you say Creighton-Louisville or
Creighton-Louisville.
Creighton-Auburn?
Yeah, Creighton-Louisville.
Yeah, Creighton-Louisville. That was, we thought that was going to be the best game. And it was the first game we did. So you look at the schedule, and it just kind of falls in our crew's window through the years, especially probably the last 5 years. We seem to be the one that starts the whole full field tournament, because we're the Thursday, Saturday crew typically, and we're usually on CBS. So they put us a really good game there to call. And Creighton just was, they just picked apart Louisville in every way. Creighton just probably had their best game of the year. They had come off the Big East tournament, and they play very similar to an NBA style. So it's obviously something I see all the time and am comfortable with. And it's there's a lot of ball and body movement, and they were clinical in their performance that game. They did not have that kind of performance against Auburn. They ran up to a lot better athletes. And they really couldn't do what they wanted to do against Auburn in the second round. But yeah, that first game, it was a great game for us to get started. It ended up being a little bit lopsided. Creighton ran away with it. We really didn't have any magical games. We called 6 games. 5 of them were essentially no contest in the last 5 minutes, and then there was one decent game. But yeah, we didn't have that one shining moment this year. But that was probably the closest game we had, with a little flow and great energy in the building. Louisville traveled well, as you know. It's it's an easy drive over there to Lexington, so the place was packed right away. That helps. Believe it or not, everybody thinks the NCAA tournament's this massive event, and it is. But there are days and there are locations where the day when you're doing all 4 games, some of those games, there's just nobody there. It may be half full or a third full, and those are rough, especially if you're getting teams that the local fan base is not interested in. But we knew Lexington would be a hotbed, and it was, and they really showed well. And I think they averaged 16,000 for the weekend, or for the whole week, so that helps a lot too.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, as part of that game, my question was going to be with Louisville just having to drive down the road to Lexington. How quickly did they shut the crowd up? Like, when was that not part of the environment anymore?
Yeah, that was a big part of our story, and did this kind of graphically, or at least from a statistical perspective. Every time Louisville got up and got their crowd going, and what we call a hot timeout, where an opposing coach, sensing the momentum's rolling a certain way, will call a timeout. There were 3 of those occasions, and on each occasion, Creighton had an answer. They had an 8-0 run. I think they had an 11-2 run, and then a kind of a modest 7-2 run where they came right out, bang, bang, 2 3-pointers right away. Every time that crowd was cooking, Creighton had an answer. And I think that's what helped them win that game, is those specific timeouts to get into the weeds. Greg McDermott is a really great coach, and he sensed that the tidal wave was coming. And Creighton had some experience with that. They had played UConn in the Big East tournament at Madison Square Garden. That was a partisan crowd, big time, 90-10 probably. Then they won that game. Then they played St. John's in the Big East tournament title game in Madison Square Garden. So that's 90-10, St. John's favor. So I think they were kind of ready for that. Maybe they needed the crowd against them against Auburn. I mean, it was a good Auburn crowd, but it wasn't like 2 days prior when Louisville was the opponent.
So I'm a big Arkansas guy, but I love Auburn because I love Coach Pearl. We've spent some time with Coach Pearl. Janai Broom, like that dude, good kid, like has stayed, and anybody staying and playing, like, I respect. You had 2 Auburn games. Do you feel like Auburn has the talent to win it all?
Yeah, absolutely. They just can beat you anyway, is what I like about them. They can play fast, score in the 80s, even 90s, or they can play slow. And if their opponent is that kind of team, they can grind it down and beat you in the 60s because they do have size. I thought Dylan Cardwell was a huge piece to that puzzle. Janai Broom, to me, didn't look like the SEC Player of the Year and a National Player of the Year finalist. He didn't play that way. He didn't play with that kind of energy. Not saying he was bad. He wasn't dominant. He didn't own the space. But they have other guys that can and do. And I'm a huge fan of Bruce Pearl. He's got Milwaukee ties. Obviously, I live in Milwaukee, and that was one of his stops in the early going. And so I believe in what they do. They're great defensively. They have scoring around big men, and it's not just Janai Broom. Cardwell is a handful, and I thought Dylan Cardwell, the way he played against Kalkbrenner. So Ryan Kalkbrenner is one of the great players in the country, a 7-footer from Creighton. He's had this amazing career, and not that he took Kalkbrenner totally out, but he definitely changed the way Creighton had to play that game. And I think it affected Creighton a great deal, not having Kalkbrenner just dominate the post and dominate the rebounding. So I think they're more than capable to win a national championship, and they're deserving of the overall number 1 seed.
I only hate teams I respect. I only respect teams that I hate, because the hate doesn't come unless there's a reason I hate them. In football, I hate Texas. In basketball, I hate Tennessee. I don't even really hate Duke, because everybody hates Duke, and that's lame. But I hate Tennessee. And you called 2 Tennessee games, but Tennessee has Kentucky now, and Tennessee got beat twice by Kentucky this year.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming are you doing that game, by the way? Do you know what games you're doing next?
No. Yeah, I'm not. I'm in the East region, so I have BYU, Alabama, Arizona, and Duke. That's our next stop. Thursday on CBS. It'll be Thursday, Saturday, my crew.
Talk about Tennessee for a second, because I hate them because they are so good. They are so tenacious.
Yeah.
What makes me hate them so much?
Well, they just get after you, and they're really physical, and they play great defense, and they make your team, if they're playing your team, they make your team look disheveled and unorganized. And it's like a strikeout pitcher makes a lineup look like they're not paying attention. but that's what they do because they're just they're relentless defensively. I mean, they've got two, really three, but they've got two guys in the final four for Defensive Player of the Year, Meshack and Ziegler. That's an incredible accomplishment to have two of the four, like two guys on the same team. You may get one guy in a conference, but they have two on the same team and on the perimeter as well. And then, they've got Akpara down in the paint, and he's a weapon, kind of a shot blocker, roamer. So it's hard enough to get by their guards. If you do get by their guards, you're kind of running into this second wall. They have a lot of size. They certainly have the perimeter defense, and then they've got the one weapon that most teams don't have, and that is just a lights out A+ shooter. And the college game is kind of lacking great shooters. That's our biggest, when we come down from the NBA to do these college games, it's the thing you notice the most. It's like you can just tell there's not enough skill shooting the basketball. And they've got it. Chaz Lanier is, I don't see anybody like him in the college game. He's got a quick release. He can dribble himself open. He's catch and shoot. He's kind of got all these weapons. So you've got all these, really good pieces. And I would say Tennessee is challenged offensively. I think they have holes offensively, but every team tries to shut off the Chaz Lanier valve, and they can't. And that's just, UCLA tried to do it. They had great success against Utah State, cutting off their best player, Ian Martinez, but he got his. I think he went for 20+, and I think he had like maybe 50 points in the two games, and he probably shot 50% from three, and he was heavily guarded in all of that. So that's why Tennessee is, to me, their defense and their perimeter play, it usually comes down to point guard play or guard play and shooting, and that's why they're like a scary number two, if you could say that. They could win it all this year. They've never been to the Final Four as a program, so this would be their best opportunity, in my opinion. And I've had them a lot through the years in the Rick Barnes era at the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, they're so legit. I hate them. They're so legit. Alabama, I do like.
How many times we got to hear Rocky Top? That's the thing.
I know. I agree.
Man.
Especially,
I must have heard it 10 times. And
you ever been to Neyland Stadium? If you go to a football game, that stays in your head longer than Chumbawamba tub thumping does. If you hear that, like that's. So let's go to Alabama for a second. Since you're going to call that game, I really like Nate Oates. You get to hear things that we don't, being right there on the floor. Does he ever get on to a player for shooting something that's not actually right under the basket or a 3-pointer? Is he like, no mid-range? Is that ever a conversation you hear?
Yeah, well, that's a philosophy for sure. And Nate's a good pal. And, he from where I'm sitting right now, he grew up literally 10 miles from here in Waterford, Wisconsin. So he's a proud cheeser, and that's what I love about him. Big Brewers fan. I still do the Brewers. So we talk all things cheese. He's had an amazing career from the high school level to, then he was an assistant, then he got the head coaching job at Buffalo. He's out of the Hurley tree, both Dan and Bobby. And he believes in what is driving the game right now, and that's layups and threes. And so I would say, to answer your question, I think the mid-range does become more prevalent in these kind of games. So NCAA tournament or conference tournament, certainly NBA playoffs, the game changes quite a bit. Everybody wants threes and layups. That's ideal. That's the ideal way to score. That's your most efficient way to score. But sometimes defenses know that, and they're going to cut that off if they're skilled enough. And so the mid-range then becomes mid-range and free throws becomes a lot bigger than what you would see in like a regular season setup. So yes, Nate wants these guys shooting threes, let it fly. They have great rebounders, great size, it's not just about shooting and making threes. They just want shots on goal. They want the ball in the air, and they want more shot attempts because they believe in their rebounding. So to counter the volume shooting, you need great rebounding, offensive rebounding, and they have that. They've got bouncy guys who have length, and so that's why You kind of recruit and build your roster that way, and that's very much of an NBA way to build your roster. And players love playing that way, which is why Nate continues to, get the top players in addition to the giant bag that they're getting to go to Alabama. But players are getting bags everywhere, so they want to play in that kind of system that's going to get them ready for the NBA. Every player in this tournament thinks they can play in the NBA. Very few can, but they all think they can. And when they're picking their colleges, they want to go somewhere that's going to kind of groom them up to go to the next level. So, he's got it working there. He had it working at Buffalo. I'm a big fan of his. I love the way he runs his team. They know he's in their corner, so he's kind of the modern day Tom Izzo, I would say, where what we see in the games, he loses his mind every now and then, but I think behind the scenes, his players know he's got their back, and he does. I mean, he's a good man, and I think I'm really happy for his success at Alabama.
Yeah, me too, sadly. I like him too, and it's hard. I'm such an Arkansas guy that it's hard for me to like anybody else. Okay, so I have 2 basketball questions and a baseball question.
Yeah, sure.
NBA-wise, I watched the Celtics set the record the other night for the most three-pointers ever shot in a game, and I'm not going to be that guy, though, that, it sucks because all they're doing is shooting threes. I won't allow myself to be that guy, even though at times I feel that way. What can they do micro to change the game so that it is not just people chunking threes all game, because it's not the best viewing experience?
Great question. I don't think you can do anything. I don't think you should do anything. It is the regular season. This all resolves itself, by the way, in the playoffs. And even in the play-in tournament, which, I was kind of a skeptic of, but it actually turned out to be great. And, we've done it for the last 2 years at TNT. So ended up being really interesting. But I think, again, back to my previous point, when the competition gets intense and it matters, then it's not just volume threes. You have to do something else because you're game planning, you're matching up series, change that. So what I would say is just enjoy the skill of the regular season and the competition level. Let's call it an 8. It's never really going to get to a 10. Then the playoffs start and you'll see what you want to see. So you endure the regular season and you can make a decision whether you want to, experience that as a viewer or going for the live audience perspective. But that's what it is. It's a long schedule. It's there's a lot of travel, and the way they're playing now is to kind of survive the regular season, and most teams are doing that. You can't play as hard as you do in the playoffs in the regular season. You're going to blow everybody out on your team. So that's why load management exists, which stinks, but it's here. And ultimately, when the playoffs stop mattering, load management and this 3-point evolution will stop mattering as much, but they don't. They do matter. And so just the game you want to see, just hang in there until April and May and maybe June if your favorite team lasts that long.
Okay, 2 questions. Now go back to college. Did the refs call the games differently in this tournament as opposed to how they've called them in conference the whole year?
Always, especially in round 1, because you've got 109 refs. So just think about it. Like if you're an SEC guy, so that's a totally different league, and it's called differently in the non-conference too. Officials wouldn't agree with me on that, and they'd probably be upset about that statement, but it's true. The group of officials that are getting hired in the SEC, that's a fairly regular group. They all kind of know each other. They know how the players play. So then you expand that group and you go into an NCAA tournament, and now you've got 100 game officials. You got 9 alternates in that first round. These guys get paid by the game, and the only way you advance as an official to the second round is based on your evaluation and your grade in your round 1 performance. So it's I wouldn't say it's selective enforcement. It's just tighter enforcement of the rules. Now, the veteran guys, the guys that have been around forever, the guys that have been to Final Fours, They know they're moving on. They're not even worried about that. But Rick Barnes, that was like one of his major topics with us before his round one game against Wofford, is that he said, man, our guys got to know this is not the SEC anymore. It's not the SEC tournament, and we've got to play without fouling. I thought the UCLA Tennessee game, both teams came out Big Ten, SEC. They play physical, handsy, and I think there were 8 whistles in the first 4 minutes of that game. I'm pretty sure. I think that's what I said on the air, but it just like we couldn't get the game started. But then it settled down and players adjust. So I think we make too much about the officials and the officiating. You just got to feel the game, and every veteran coach, most coaches know, have been through it, especially in round one. And it starts to ease off as you get going. But, man, these games are called so tight. You're getting a lot of new officials that are trying to advance and create more payday, so they're calling it by the book a lot more. So, yes, the answer to your question is I think it is. I've done this for 14 years, and I see it every year.
Final question, and again, assuming you're a big Brewers fan, I just want you to see I'm a massive Cubs fan, so I know. I knew you dry heave a little bit. Yeah, you're Whip Craig Council. The whole thing, right? It is what it is. But here's what I'd like to say. I keep a list of and I guess through just geography being close, I follow the Brewers. I have my top 5 Brewers of all time, and I guess I wonder if you would agree with my top 5 list of Milwaukee Brewers. Would you like to hear them and disagree if you will?
Go ahead, fire away. I'd love to hear this.
At number 1 on my list is Robin Yount, shortstop and center fielder. The face of the
easy.
When I think of the Brewers, it's just Robin Yount. Would you agree with that at number 1?
It's a statue. It's a statue out there. Go ahead.
2-time MVP, by the way. Okay, next up, I have similar, almost, not as quiet, but Paul Molitor. Like, I think he's at number 2. He is the face that if you forget the face, if you have that disease where you can't remember faces of people, but you can only remember, like, he's the other. Paul Molitor is at number 2 on my list.
The Igniter.
Yes.
Also has his number retired. So
Hall
you're
of Fame.
2 for 2.
2 for 2.
No arguments.
Okay.
No arguments.
At number
you're
3,
doing well.
I'm going to go a little younger here, just a bit younger. I'm going to go Ryan Braun. Now, again, retired, 5 years ago? But I'm going to put Braun at 3.
Yeah.
Is that too? You feel like that's too high?
No, perfect. Perfectly placed.
Okay. Then I'm going Prince Fielder at 4. I'm going,
Yeah, I mean, can't argue with that. It was a small window, but Prince Fielder, that works for me. I'm good with that.
And then it's very recent bias because I can't go Raleigh fingers. I don't remember Raleigh. I just saw videos of the mustache, and I would watch old. But I'm putting Christian Yelich.
Yeah, I like that. I would probably put CC Sabathia in that list and he was only here 3 months, but the guy changed the whole organization.
What the crap?
He's going into the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he was an amazing. When the Brewers traded for him in 2008, they hadn't made the playoffs in 26 years, and he showed up. He pitched basically every 3 days. He's hitting bombs, throwing complete games. Beat the Cubs on the last day of the season. Threw a complete game that day.
You can't pick somebody for 3 months that was a player.
I know. It's hard. I know how you feel about it, and most people do. But I'm telling you, it changed the arc of the organization. It was, and it still resonates today. And we're going to do a documentary about it. I promise. There's the CC effect was real. It was like unlike anything I've ever seen in my life. And I know it was only 3 months, but man, it was as magical of 3 months as any trade acquisition has ever been.
I just don't know if he's messing with me or if he really feels this way. I'm going to be honest, everybody listening.
I totally feel that way.
I don't know.
I could not feel stronger about a guy. I'm not saying he's top 3, but he's on there somewhere. He's on a list because we talk about the 82 team here in Milwaukee quite a bit. And by the way, there's a fantastic documentary out called Just a Bit Outside. I don't have anything to do with it, but it is so good. And it's all about that 82 team. A lot of those guys that you weren't born yet that you can learn about. But I think it's out on like Roku or something pretty soon. Anyway, but other than that, 82 team, that 2008 team, and primarily with CC Sabathia, those are the guys that kind of made this organization.
Well, I'm into the interview. I'm a massive fan. I still don't believe the CC. I don't. I'm gonna leave this not knowing if he's messing with me. But Brian, just a massive fan. I think you're only in my mind. You're only second to Nance, and I hope it's okay that I say that because Jim to me has not only become like a buddy, but also is the greatest ever. I think it's Jim, and then it's you. You're the my CC Sabathia of voices. If I'm being honest,
I'm the short timer. Yeah,
but you've meant so much. You can follow.
I appreciate it. I feel the same about you, man. I'm a huge music fan, country music guy. So you've entertained me quite a bit through the years. So
I appreciate that.
Feeling is mutual.
B Anderson PXP on Instagram. I'm gonna go. I didn't even know he had Instagram. I'm gonna go follow him just to listen to him talk. Brian, thank you so much for the time. Hope you have a great next round, and I'll be watching, man. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
Brian.
you. Good being with you.
All right, we picked some teams going into the tournament. We did a main team for $10 and a lower seed for $5. Here's our updates on what we've bet. Oh, dang, Casey's out.
Yeah, Casey's out with a big dog.
Oh, you
Right?
got St. John's?
Yeah, I had St. John's and Louisville.
Both of your picks.
Louisville.
Well, hold
Both
on.
of
We'll get to that. So Casey's big dog pick is out.
Oh man.
So that's his $10 out. Dang. Kevin and Eddie have Duke.
Yeah, we're feeling good.
You're playing Arizona. Reed has Florida. Florida looks awesome.
Whew.
Florida's playing Maryland.
Sweating over there.
Yeah.
And Mike and I have Auburn, and we're playing Michigan. So that's our $10 bet. And remember, if two teams go out at the same time, are we coin flipping or are we splitting? I forgot what we said.
Got to review the tape.
Bop it.
I feel like we said coin flip.
I feel like we said coin flip too.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
But I don't want to make us do something we didn't say. But we can vote on it now
Okay. What coin flip or what?
or split.
Oh, coin flip.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Coin flip.
Agreed,
So
man.
if the same round, the last teams go out, it'll coin flip between.
Yeah.
And if it's like coin flip with three people, we'll do round robin coin flip.
Perfect.
Or we'll make up some stupid rule as we go. Our underdog bet for $5. Who can last the longest?
Yeah, dang it.
Kevin had Arizona. They're still in. They'll be playing Duke. Kevin's big. So one way or the other, Kevin's going to be in.
He hedged. He somehow hedged his bets.
Let's go.
Oh, Eddie.
I know, so stupid. And dude, after that first game too, they won. I'm like, man, we're looking good. But Texas A&M, they're out.
You have Texas Tech.
No, A&M. well, however, though, if you wrote down
Hold
Texas,
on. On my sheet it says Tech. So
If you
might
wrote
have said
Tech-
A&M because I did say they didn't play offense. They played real grimy defense.
Yeah.
So I do remember you saying that, but it says Tech here on the sheet.
I feel like you guys wouldn't have accepted Texas Tech as a middle of the road
We wouldn't
team.
because there's 3 seed.
Right.
It's a great point.
So I'm going to be honest here, and I'm going to go with my first pick.
and I remember
Texas
you
A&M.
saying that and me saying they don't play offense. They just play grimy defense. I like them.
Yes, and there's a guy by the last name Garcia on the team, and that's Texas A&M. So.
Eddie's out. That's
There you
$5 out. Reed's Gonzaga is out. Mike's North Carolina is out. So it's just I have Michigan. They play Auburn, and you have Arizona. Kevin, and they play Duke. We could possibly be coin flipping.
Yeah.
Okay. So 2 teams left in the underdog, and then
You want money now or later?
we'll settle it later.
Okay. We need to get the lawyer on all this.
Sean. Yes. Boom. A perfectly round 1 in a billion egg sold at an auction
Perfectly round.
for over $500. As a perfectly round egg. It looked like a ball.
Who wants this?
How'd that come out?
A perfectly round 1 in a, yeah, because you think because it's got to do the hole, the little vagina butthole.
I feel like that's how it gets the shape.
Now I'm confused about baby. Does it come out the butthole or vagina
Okay,
hole?
come
Okay.
on.
A perfectly round 1 in a billion eggs sold at an auction for over Who snorted? Who snorted?
That was Casey.
Sold at an auction for over $500.
500. Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's just there's an egg that came out.
I think you said 1 in a billion or something. So
I
threw
did.
Me off.
They did say 1 in a billion egg. Like they don't find it. So $500. And so I was just gonna bring this to show you guys my newest treasure that I bought. So
What is that?
well, it's a baseball.
Yeah. But it's got
that
some
an egg?
signatures on
and
it.
I've already encased it.
But let me tell you something. That baseball is not white. Like it's not a
Hey,
new
don't
baseball.
be racist.
Stop. It looks
There's no room for-
older.
You've seen the back of NFL end zones in racism.
Okay.
It does look
Who
older.
signed that?
So, by the way, I have these 2 action figures here. Do you know who these people are?
Yeah, that's the guy that fought Andy Kaufman.
That's
His-
Jerry
Lawler.
and this is
And then that is Andy Kaufman.
it's Andy Kaufman. Andy Kaufman, yeah. So these are action figures of Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman. They're a very famous feud that was all set up, but back in the day where Andy Kaufman would wrestle women, and he was like, "I'm the greatest. I can beat up any woman in wrestling."
He's awesome.
And then Jerry Lawler and him got,
Was that on Letterman?
and he slapped him on Letterman, but it happened for a while. So what I bought on an auction site was 2 Andy Kaufman from Jerry Lawler,
Wow.
a baseball that he signed to Andy Kaufman
That's cool.
from Jerry Lawler.
How much was that?
More in the egg.
like that can't be cheap. Dang, dude, that's awesome.
Very nice.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty cool too.
Like that's a personalized gift.
Yeah.
That's like when that lady got the book that you had given to me.
No, dude.
Did you guys ever hear this story?
No.
I would like for you to tell it.
Oh,
It was so stupid.
You can tell it your version.
I'm going to tell you in the chronological order that it happened versus how you'll hear. So some lady called in on the show and said that she went to a thrift shop and bought a book, one of Bobby's books. It was, I think, Fail Until You Don't. And inside of it was an autograph from Bobby, and it was written to my best friend Eddie. Love, Bobby Bones.
Oh my God.
And she's like, I think that I bought the book that you gave Eddie.
Oh, shoot.
And I'm like, first off, who would call in the radio show and say that? Second off, I had no idea that book was not in my house. So I texted my wife and said, did you like sell that book? Or she said, I might have. Like, I get a lot of books or things that we don't need at the house, and I go take them to Goodwill. So that's the story. But it hurt Bobby's feelings for sure.
So this is what I would like to say. And I have a picture of it here. Just looking for it. So
You got a picture of it?
yeah, I sure do.
Yeah.
like
It's,
I'm ready.
so I don't just take books and sign them to my friend and be like, I got you a gift.
Right.
When the book came out, people that I'd either written about it or had been a part of like the process or were important to me, I just was like, hey, I wrote a nice note and said, you don't have to read this, but I just want you to have it because it means a lot to me. I put a lot of work into this thing, and you're very important to me in this process. So I wrote, I hold best friend, and then here's the signature, here's the book, and the person
How thoughtful of you.
the person tweeted me, hey, I picked this up at a thrift shop.
Oh,
Oh.
That's crazy, dude. Come on. Like, I know it looks like I sold the book, like I didn't want it. It wasn't important to me. It's not true. My wife had no idea what was in that stack of books. She just took them to Goodwill.
Mm-hmm.
And that one happened to be in there.
That one still hurts.
Yeah,
I
that
was
was
looking
stupid.
for other Jerry Law, like if he like did a few of the, I don't see any other ones anywhere.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Why would he give like a bunch of them to Andy Kaufman? Like that's got to be one of one.
It may
gift.
it may not be one of one. It could be like he could have done a few, 4 or 5 or 6. I don't know, but I don't see any other ones.
That's amazing. That is really cool, especially knowing how much you like Andy Kaufman.
Yeah,
like
they're
that's
my favorite.
Pretty special.
My favorite. So yeah, I have two Andy Kaufman from the King, Jerry Lawler, signed baseball.
that's cool.
Do you guys know Andy Kaufman? Like, do you know anything about him?
He's
He
a
was
comedian,
on-
right?
Yeah, he was on that show Taxi, right? Or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, don't even do that.
But he's not wrong.
But don't do that.
He's not wrong.
Uh-oh.
He was on Taxi.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. What was his name on Taxi?
Latka.
Latka.
Thank you very much.
I did watch the
The Jim Carrey movie?
the Jim Carrey where
Awesome.
that documentary where like
No.
No.
No, my God.
Both of you guys.
We're butchering this.
what?
Are you talking about the movie or the
No.
documentary?
Not the actual movie, the
Why
documentary.
did you watch the documentary if you didn't watch the movie?
Oh my God.
Because I don't know, it just looked cool at the time. This is like 5-6 years ago, right? On Netflix, I think.
Oh my God.
You gotta watch the
I hate
movie,
all
dude.
of you.
Yeah, I never watched the movie.
The movie's awesome.
What? I'm not even going to assign it to you because I don't like you that much right now. You know,
Wait,
You either
what?
case.
Why am
Assign
I-
it to both of them.
if you get some time, I'd like for you to watch Man on the Moon.
Okay.
Jim Carrey plays Andy Kaufman. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Andy Kaufman would do things like, he wasn't a traditional stand-up comedian, but Andy Kaufman would do things like build a tent. He'd go and speak to universities because they would know him. Oh, a lot is coming. Thank you very much. And he'd build a tent, and so all the students would get in and be ready for a show. And he'd get in the tent, lay down, and go to sleep. And just when
The whole show.
and then he would just everybody be like, "What's going on?" He never would come out, and that was it was like performance art. He would get up and read The Great Gatsby. He'd be like, "All right, walk on,"
He'd read the entire book
and he would read the entire book
on stage.
on stage because it was interesting to him to see other people's reactions.
Oh, okay.
He was on the very first SNL ever, and he gets up and he's very nervous. He's and he opens a record player, and the Mighty Mouse song starts to play. And he's just sounding like this. And then the part of the song is, "Here I come to save the day," and he gets so animated at that one point. And then the crowd's it's so risky. It is awesome. It's awesome.
You got to check it out, Kev.
Watch
Okay.
him do Elvis on Johnny Carson.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God. Like I could do this for an hour. It's my favorite. But he's not a comedian. People put him in that because he was on stage and he would do stuff. But
Yeah.
It's the closest descriptor, I guess. Yeah.
So anyway, that's the dude. Got that ball. Loved it. Rest in peace, George Foreman.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Dang.
Rest in
My wife didn't even know he was a boxer, by the way.
She thought it was a
Neither
grill
did
guy.
my wife didn't either.
Same.
She was like, "Oh, the guy with the grills."
Yeah.
Oh no, the boxer that got into grill business.
Or the
To be fair, we were also very young when he came back. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
that old.
Yeah.
He was fighting as an old man when we were very young. But yeah, I hear you.
and he had 8 kids named George,
Yeah, I
right?
was just
No,
gonna
he
say
didn't.
that.
Gina?
Yeah.
Yep. All of them are George.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's pretty awesome.
The Vikings are not going to sign Aaron Rodgers.
Where is he going to go?
Don't care.
Titans, he's coming here.
Aaron Rodgers getting minimal TV interest because people think he's insufferable to be around.
Yeah.
I think there's the Celtics sold for $6.1 billion.
Yeah.
No arena involved.
Yeah.
Just
Oh
the
my God.
team.
Did you try to buy it, Kev?
Yeah, they just wouldn't accept my offer.
I was in. I bought the ball instead.
Nice.
It was the Celtics or
Good
the ball.
decision.
Yeah. So, all right, that's it. We're done. Thank you very much for being here. Hope you guys have a great day. And I don't know. We'll see you when we see you. Losing my voice a little bit. I think it's just because I've been traveling so
Welcome
much.
back.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the States.
Guten Tag.
What is
Guten
that?
Morgen?
Good. Huh?
Guten Morgen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, good morning.
No. That's good morning. Guten
Yeah.
Tag is good day. Guten Abend.
What is that? I need an omelet.
No, I need.
Gluten omelet.
No.
Good omelet.
Gluten omelet.
Dude,
That's a
I was
good
pretty good at stuff. I get to be pretty good. It's weird to learn different languages. I just try to learn like the 8 things in each place. Is it like Guten Abend? Is that night?
I can't remember night.
Why'd you study over there or something?
I took German in high school.
Look at you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I didn't learn much, and I've been in Germany 3 times.
Wow. That's cool.
Hold on.
I love Germany.
Oh, it's Guten Abend. Guten Abend. Here we
Good
go.
Abend.
Yeah,
Guten
Guten
Abend.
Abend. So when I guess
what does that mean?
Good evening. Good
Oh,
night.
good evening.
Guten Abend.
Would you say that to your wife like before you guys go to bed? Good nothing.
She would say, I would be really trying. I should say this because I could do a half hour on it. Just remind me to talk about accents, Mike, and how my wife gets pissed at me when I try to do accents. in other countries.
to talk about accents?
I do, but I need space so I don't get canceled. I just need space with this one.
Good idea.
All right, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time. Blow the whistle, Eddie.